Aloha, Richard Halverson here. This is ICS321, and today is February 11th. Let me share my screen. Share 3, and let me log in to Lima. And log in as a student, is to be the student. And we're in this class. And let's look at the syllabus. And we are around here. We're in chapter 3. Okay, chapter 3 is a whole bunch of SQL. It's all about SQL. It's a pretty long chapter. That's why, oh geez, I have three weeks dedicated to chapter 3. Oh, I have to give you a new assignment in there too. Next week I'll do that, I guess. Okay, so let's go to chapter 3. And all right, so how far did we get last time? I think last time I remember we did, let's look at the, usually put it in the title. I thought I did a, I was doing an assignment, or I was doing one of the labs, wasn't I? What's this? Oh no, this was a okay, lab. Oh, lab 3.4. Okay, yeah, lab. Okay, 3.4 is a lab. All right, I was thinking all the labs are at the end. 3.4 is a lab. Okay, so let's keep moving here. Let's do 3.5. That is the last one I did, right? I don't think I did 3.5. Yeah, this is still 3.4. I was using my server to do 3.4. Okay, and maybe I'll do that again this time. Okay, oh, here we are. The movie table has the following columns. Write alter statements to make the following modifications to the movie. Okay, I guess we should probably pay attention to how these alter statements work. Have I gotten into alter statements? You know, I rearranged these sections here, so it's like I'm not even sure I've covered alter statements yet. I must have. But anyway, I'm going to use my server to do this again. We're at 3.5. So we have a movie table that looks like this. And so if I go over to my server, which I think was here, cPanel, and you have one too. And go to your Phpmyadmin, and if you in 3.4, I created this test 3, and I have this table called student. And now I'm gonna just as an exercise, I'm gonna create another table here called movie table. I wonder if I've got. I will just create a new table called movie table. So it's going to be a new table, test 3, database test 3, create a table called movie, M-O-V-I-E, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. This is a good exercise. And we've got a column called ID, which is an integer and it's the primary key, and it's fine. And we've got a one code title, which is a variable length string, and I'm just going to throw 50 in there. And we've got genre, which is also a variable length string, and I'm going to say, I don't know which one is 20, I don't know. We have a rating code, and it's a variable length string, another variable length string. Who knows what the rating code is? It doesn't matter. And we have a year, which is an integer, and I'll just leave that as an integer. And I will save this, save. And now I've got this table called movie. Here it is. And I want to alter by making the following modifications. I want to add a producer. So I'm going to add, it doesn't say where to add it. So I'm just going to add it at the end. So I'm going to see here, I'm going to add go, and it's going to be called producer, and it is a varchar of 50. Now, can I preview the SQL? Oh, look here, preview. Here it is, alter movie producer, blah, blah. And it's got that, I'm going to just try to see what this, I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to do this. And I'm going to go submit mode and see what I get. This is just one. You're supposed to do 3 of them, but I want to see if I get the points for this, see if it's correct. And it says I got 3 points. It didn't show. Okay, this one looks like I got 3 out of 3, so it looks like I'm good with this one. So now I just got to do these other 2, and so remove the genre column. So let me go back to here and close this, and I'm going to go like this and go to click on structure. I'm going to skip that. I don't want to do this. I'm going to click on structure. And I'm going to say drop, saying I'm going to drop this column, drop. And oh, here, look, do you really want to do this SQL statement? No, I don't. But let's paste it in here. Okay. And let's see what we got. All right, I got 6 out of 10 now. Got all that points, all those points. I didn't get these last points. So I will let you finish this one, okay? Let's go on to the next section. Primary and foreign key constraints. Oh, okay, good. Okay, so this is how you connect one table to another when they're related in some way. And so they're connected by the keys, by the primary keys. And so if you want to connect a family, like in this case, we've got an employee, and we've got another table called family. And what family is it contains the non-employee members, maybe not, just it contains all of the family members of employees. And so the ID field here connects back to the employee, and then an employee can have more than one family member. So that's what this 1, 2, and 3 is. So the primary key for family, it needs to be the ID plus this column called number, because it's got to be unique, and we want part of it, at least part of it, to connect back to the employee, and that's what the ID is. Okay, so the primary key for here is this plus this. That's the primary key. But ID is a foreign key, which links back to the ID field of the employee. So so let's just see if we understand this. Refer. Okay, so you should watch the animation, and let's see if I can do this without watching the animation. These three people must have unique IDs and names. Well, I'd say the answer is no, because they only need to have unique IDs. They don't need to have unique names. Two people can have the same name. Yes, it's only the ID. So okay. So anyway, make sure you understand that. Okay, auto increment columns. It's nice to have an ID that means nothing else other than the fact that it uniquely identifies a particular row on the table. In other words, it's not necessarily such a great thing to have an ID mean something, although in this case it makes complete sense to have the ID mean something. But actually in this case, this number column doesn't mean anything other than it makes that row unique, because the row might share ID with some other row, and so databases have this auto increment feature where you can set, when you create the table, you can say this is the ID field. It's just going to be an integer. Each time you put in a new employee, just add one and have that be the new ID, and so you know how many employees were inserted into the table, but you might not know how many employees are in the table because employees can be deleted, and when employees are deleted, it's not like that ID is reused or anything. Okay, so anyway, that's how auto increment works, and we did that. We saw this yesterday, or the last class period. Okay, so here's 4 employees were added to the table, which is an auto incrementing ID. Place the employee rows in order in which the employees were most likely added to the table. Well, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Okay, so because it's an auto increment field, the table started out empty, and then when Susan Miller was put in there, that was the first one, so it was 1. It starts out as being 0. It increments 0 increments to 1. It puts a 1 in there, and then when Juan gets put in there, the 1 gets incremented to a 2, and that's the ID field for Juan. So that's the order. Okay, so here's this foreign key constraint that I was referring to before, which here we have say a department, and we have every department has got a manager, most likely, and that manager is an employee, so we might as well just have this manager field ID here be the ID of the employee. See, so this 2538 refers to this 2538, meaning that Lisa Ellison is the manager of engineering, and you can join these two tables together when you're doing a select, and join the two tables together where this one equals this one, and you can make a table that's got engineering manager Lisa, whose salary is this, for example. All right, so that's adding primary and foreign key constraints. Here's how we do it. Right here, we say foreign key equals foreign key, and this is the, see, this is in the department table. So it's in this table. We're saying that this field references this field ID inside this table. So that's how you specify the foreign key in the creation of the department table. And of course, you can use an alter also. All right, so it looks like we're gonna modify the two create table statements, add a primary key constraint, and add a primary key constraint to songs, and add a foreign key constraint. Album ID refers to table ID, to the album table ID. Okay, so we need to add what does this run? Does it actually do anything? Oh, I see. Okay, got it. Okay, so what we want to do is add we're supposed to add them to this thing, I guess, huh? Well, I guess we can do this. Where's, I don't, okay, so, all right, so I want to get the format of an alter statement that an alter statement that adds a foreign key constraint. I want to see what the SQL is for that. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and let's see. In this thing, I got two tables. Okay, I got a movie table and a student table. The movie table has got an ID, and the student table has got an ID. There's no students in the student table. It doesn't matter. Let's say I want to, let's say I'm just going to modify this because I want to see it. Okay, let's say it's a student has a favorite movie. Okay, let's say a student has a favorite movie. So that's the structure of student. I'm going to add, and I'm just doing this so I can figure out what the alter statement is to add a foreign key constraint because I'm lazy. So I'm going to add a column. I'm going to add a column. I'm just going to add a column at the end. I'm going to say favorite movie. And it's an integer because it's going to be a foreign key. Okay, that's all I got to do is say. I just realized something. For me to be able to see foreign key, for me to be able to set foreign key constraints, the type of database engine cannot be MYISAM. It's got to be INNODB. I should have told you that earlier. But so let's go over to a movie again. And let's go up here and click on operations. And let's just change the storage engine to INNODB. Okay. And then let's go back to here, and oh, now it says INNODB. Let's go back over here again. We just got to go to it somehow and then click on operations. And let's make this one an INNODB. All right. All right. So now I've got these two tables. They're both so now you'll see I'll be able to add that foreign key constraint. And what the foreign key constraint is I've got a student table, and this is a foreign key into the movie table. So how do I set that? Well, right up here, it's under structure, students. I'm in the student table, under structure, click on relation view. This wasn't there when there were my ISAMs, I'm quite sure. And here we can say we want to add, let's see, it can fill in the name, it's okay. Column favorite movie, same database. What's the name of our database? Test3. into the movie table, the ID. Look, it even knows ID. Okay, so what this is the foreign movie column links to the movie table's ID column. And so I want to preview the SQL. We will learn more about what these on, delete, on updates are later, but I'm going to click on preview SQL, and it looks like this. Alter student, add foreign key. Okay, so I'm going to leave off these right here because I don't think we need them yet. I'm just going to copy this part, copy. Actually, maybe we do need these. I'm just going to copy the whole thing. And by the way, what this is this says the student table has got a link into the movie table, and so that link has got to be there. If the student table has got a favorite movie of 5, ID number 5, there better be an ID number 5 movie in the movie theater or in the movie table, and and if you try to delete that movie, it won't let you because there's a reference to it. So this makes, once that link is established, and it won't let you establish the link unless there is a movie there, but once that's established, then that movie record has got to be there as long as the student is there. So if you want to delete the movie, you got to make sure there's no students that think that that movie is their favorite movie. That's all. So that's what this enforces. So anyway, I've just copied this. I'm going to go over and try to paste it in here. I'm going to go right in here and paste it. And now I'm going to run it, see what the tables look like. Oh, I got to get rid of oh, wait a second. I'm the names of my, I just did this because I want to see the structure. So I want to alter, let's see, album points to, okay, so table is the one that's got the foreign key in it. So this has got to be table. No, I mean, sorry, it's got to be song. Song is the one that's got the foreign key in it. The foreign key is album ID. See, it's this. That's the foreign key. And it references this table, ID field, that's correct. And I'll leave that there and see what this does. Cannot add, oh, I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Oh, I'm sorry, I guess. It says, oh, maybe it's because they've got to add the primary keys first. So I'm going to do that. Let's see. Student. What happens if I remove the primary key structure? What happens if I'm going to try changing. I'm going to try changing the primary key. See, it doesn't matter because there's nothing in there. I'm going to try changing the primary key to the phone number. Why not? See what happens. So I'm going to click primary here. And this is the SQL, alter table, add primary key phone. Okay, so I'm going to just copy this. It's not, I'm going to take out the drop part. I'm going to go over here. And I got to add these primary keys first. So right here, I'm going to add a primary key. Oh, maybe I'm supposed to add it directly into the table. Modify the to create tables. Okay, so I'm just going to modify this table. Let's see what this looks like. Primary key is phone. Primary key is ID. I think that will work. It's got to be a comma there. Take this away, and let me take this away. Am I supposed to modify the create statement too? I guess it's not an alter, it's a create statement. Okay, let me put a comma here and put this here, and that's fine for that. Now let's see if it will accept this. Well, I don't know if it does, but I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I'm going to put it right here. See if it accepts this. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Anyway, so that's how that works. And now we talk about these on, delete, and update actions, and this is where you specify what to do if you want to do something that disrupts the link. Okay, so in this case we have department links with the department has got a foreign key into the employee table, and what happens if you try to delete? Here it says the department table. On delete, you cascade. Yes. On update, you set to null. See, here we're specifying what happens if you delete an employee. On delete. Okay, so if you delete an employee, see this. Let's go through the animation here, and so that says that is that link, and then so what this says is if we delete Gary Smith, we're going to delete this entry into the department table. So when we are so these delete and update actions have to do with the table that the foreign key references. So when deletes and updates occur in this table, which is referenced, see this is the definition of the department table, and so if you delete an employee, you delete the record in the department table, and if you update the ID of an employee here, you actually set the manager ID on this side to null. If it were cascade, if it were update cascade, then if you change this ID, then it would change the ID here. All right, so we saw that here when I was setting, let's go back to here. When I was setting this relation view here, I didn't do it. So let's, the column was the first movie column, database is the same database. The table was the movie table column. And then here you set those actions. On delete, you're either going to cascade or set to null, not do anything, or keep it from happening. Updating, the same thing. You either cascade the update, you set to null, like we saw that in the animation, don't do anything, or keep it from happening. All right, so that's foreign keys. So you can go through these challenge activities, make sure you understand. This is a lab. Create lesson schedule table from foreign key constraints. All right. So 2 tables are created. There they are. Create a lesson schedule table with these columns. And then here are those actions to be taken when something happens to the tables that the foreign key constraints refer to. So I think it's going to be something like create table create table. I'm just going to be lazy here. Create table lesson schedule. Horse ID, integer, small integer works because it's, in fact, it should be the same as this. Really, it should be the same as what it is a foreign key into, though they should be the same type. So that makes it the same type. And then we have a one of the we have also have student ID. I'm just going to do a copy paste, and I'm going to do student ID here. And then I'm going to have a lesson date time. So I'm just going to do lesson date time is a date time. They're all partial primary keys. Okay, so the horse combined with the lesson date time is the primary key because that's the resource. It's you're scheduling horses by time, and so you can't schedule the same horse at the same. You can't schedule a horse with 2 students. Well, at the same time, you could schedule the same horse with 2 different students at different times. So let's so we're going to say here that the primary key is the horse ID, comma, the lesson date time field. And what else do we have to do? Oh, we got to do a foreign key thing. So we're going to do on delete horse if a row is deleted from horse, the rows in the same horse ID should be deleted from the lesson schedule automatically. If a row is deleted from student, the same student ID should be set to null in the schedule automatically. Okay, so let's make these foreign key. Where did we, it's not on this page. Let me go back to here. No, oops, here. And I wanted to see, okay, so on delete cascade on we didn't specify updating, but I would assume that if the movie changes, we would want to cascade. So let's see what this SQL looks like. Looks like that. So I'm going to copy this. No, I'm going to copy this. Just for hints. All right, comma. And foreign key is horse ID. Let's do horse ID first. References the horse table. On delete, cascade the delete. And I'm just going to put that update there. And then I got to do another one. And this time it's student ID. References student. On delete, set to null. Now, what would that look like? On delete, set null. Okay, that's what it looks like. On delete, set null. And I can see that if you change the student ID, you'd want that to cascade to this lesson schedule table. If you update the horse ID, I would see you want to update. You want to cascade that too. All right, so I'm gonna see what this looks like. Six out of 10. What didn't I get? It was expecting, for all the updates, it was expecting restrict. It was expecting restrict, not cascade. These look okay, these look okay, these look okay, these look the same, this looks different. So it looks like the update rules, they want cascade instead of restrict. Okay, so you can fix that. All right, what's next? Column constraints. Okay, so here we are, you know, when we create a table, there's nothing in it. And so we set the constraints there. It's also possible to just upload a table and have the, you know, Phpmyadmin or whatever make guesses as to the field types, the types of attributes, or the you know, whether it's numbers or letters or names or whatever. If they have decimal points, if there's numbers and they have decimal points, it's going to assume it's a decimal, and so on. A date, it usually doesn't recognize a date. It usually just thinks a date is a varchar, but then you can change it to a date pretty easily. Even when it creates a table that way, it's going to choose constraints like data types that fit the data that you've uploaded. So if you want to set constraints after that, it won't let you set a constraint where there's records in there that would violate that constraint. So so you're adding these constraints normally when the table is empty. And so here, for example, you can say that if you're ever inserting a new employee into the table, their name cannot be, you know, you can insert records into a table with missing fields. if those fields allow null values. Null value means we don't know what it is yet. A null value is not the same as blank. It's not the same as 0. Saying something is blank is saying what it is. Saying something is null is like, I don't know what it is yet. I'll get back to you. Okay. And when you create tables, you can say whether or not you'll allow that or not. And in this case, we're not allowing. You can't put an employee in. You can't put an employee in the table that's got a birth date and a salary but doesn't have a name yet. Okay, you gotta have it. All right, so those are those kinds of constraints, and it's easy to so here we're talking about the not null constraint. Which columns may contain null values? Code should not be able to accept null values. Does it say here that the not null constraint prevents null? ID. It doesn't say that ID is not null, but the primary key can never be null. And let's see if that is the case. So which columns may contain null values? I would say it is name and manager ID. All columns by default, except the primary key, can contain null values. Okay. Which alternation to the create table statements prevents manager ID from being null? Which alternation to the create table statement prevents manager ID from being null? I guess it'd be this one, just because we got to preserve the small int, and all we're doing is we're adding the not null. I think we add not null after the data type, so I'm going to say this. Yes, okay. You can specify a default. So you can say if the date is not specified, then use this date. So if the salary is not specified, then use this value. What column values are null when inserting a row with code 999 but no name or manager? In this case, which columns are null? It would be both of these, because they're both missing. Which alternation to the create table sets the default name to accounting? Well, that would be, right now the default name is just this, and if you want to add a default onto that, it would be this middle one, because it's got to be in quotes. And we do have the word default in there. We do have the word default. So that would be this one. This is a way to specify that when you're adding, you always want to make sure that the record, the username value in the new record is unique. So there's no other records that have the same username value. All right, so that's a good constraint. Here you're able to actually add expressions that have to be met before a record with a particular value can be inserted. So the syntax of this is the same as a where clause. So that's pretty cool. There's various kinds of ways of specifying that kind of restriction. Here you can use the between operator. Kind of reminds me of Microsoft Access. All right. So here you're just able to name these constraints if you'd like. If you'd like to name them. And the error message will include the name of the constraint that was violated, should it be violated. All right, so here's naming constraints. And here's some challenge activities to make sure you understand that. So click through those and get those. Create a horse table with constraints. Okay, great. Let's see, we've got 15 minutes. So create a horse table with the following columns, data types, constraints, and constraints. Null is allowed unless not null is explicitly stated. All right. So let's start with a create table. Ooh, look, it's got some constraints. What does I've never tried to create or add these check constraints in here. I wonder if you can even do it. These are foreign key constraints. Distinct values. Okay, let me add a change here. Let's do something like date. Well, let's see if we can add a constraint here, like a zip code. No, I don't think you can. Okay, so all right, well, let's just do it. I don't see where you can add that manually in. I don't see where you can add it here. Let me do this. Phpmyadmin check constraints. Unable to add check constraint to a column. How do I add constraints in Phpmyadmin? Click structure, click relation view. Under foreign key constraints, click choose. Oh, that's just constraints. Okay, this is, yeah, here it shows you got to do it in the create table. I'm not sure you can do it in Phpmyadmin. You can use the alter table. All right, so that's how you would do it, I guess. So anyway, let's just try to do this. Okay, so I need to do a create table here. Create table horse, and let me give myself a hint here. What does this table look like? Whatever, I just want a hint, so let me do an export, custom, US text, go. Here's a nice template for a table. copy, create horse, and we've got an ID which ranges from that, and that's signed small int unsigned auto increment. How do you spell auto increment? Small int unsigned auto increment. And so now when I do this, this, it's going to say unsigned, not null, but it's going to say auto, it's underscore. Okay, no. Yeah, here we go. How's that? Okay. And then the next one is registered name, 15 characters, 15. Read is 20 characters. Read is 20 characters and must be, so I'll add a check onto that. Height is 8. Is decimal 3, 1, 3, 1, and it must be between that and birth date. Is that okay? Birth date is a date. All right, now I got to add the primary key is ID, and then I got to add these checks. But I guess looks something like this. Okay, I guess you can't use checks. And okay, I guess you can do it this way too. All right, I'm going to just copy this over. Ooh. All right, I guess it just looks like that. Something like that. And what are the gee whiz. All right, I got a trouble with this book because you can't refer back to things very easily. I'm gonna have to copy this out and put it. What time is it? Okay, get close to the end here. Let me I gotta put this someplace. And I got to refer back to, I'm gonna run the program here. I'll get an error, but at least it's gonna stay. Oh. And I wanted to look at all these other, we are right, 3.9 constraints. Check, I want to look at the checks. Unique, unique, check. Okay. Between, in, good, I can do in. This, I'll do something like this. So here I gotta do read, check, read in that. Height is, birth date is something. Birth date is, looks like something like this. That works also. I like this better. Birth date is going to be something like this. So it was breed, height, and birth date were the ones that we were thinking. Breed, height is a decimal. Okay, I can do height there too. Use ID for that. And let me just do this. Check. Height has got to be in here somewhere. Read, height, and birth date. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. I'm going to copy this and go back to here. And, oh, there it is. I think I can just do this now. And breed has got to be one of these. Breed has got to be one of these. Quote, 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 quote. Okay, so that's one of those. Breed is one of those. Height has got to be between 10.0 and it's got to be less than or equal to 20.0. And birth date must be greater than or equal to January 5th, okay, 2015, January 1, 2015. Okay, that's it. All right. Let's see what this does. Okay, let me see. That is usually typical of something like not putting a semicolon there. It's very important. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, look, what's that? Oh, I don't really need these backticks. The backticks are for if I were to have a space in between, if the name has a space in it. But the backticks shouldn't matter. That's how the Phpmyadmin by default puts those backticks. I can click on a checkbox if I don't want those backticks. But let's see what this does. Okay, now it looks like it wants to see if that makes sense, because that's really how big and a small int unsigned is. There's that. I'll change that, and it doesn't like the fact that I said that breed was not going to be null. It says it could be. There's going to be constraints. There's those check constraints on these, so I guess it wanted me just to leave that alone. And birth date, same with birth date. All right, so let me fix those. I guess they want me to take out the not nulls. So first of all, let me make this a 5. I was just supposed to know that. I think I could take that out completely, but and then I'm going to take out the not null. Let's take out not null. I think that should work. Okay, and that's how I got out of this. All right. So I had to take a break there for a while and figure out exactly what the problem was when I was debugging this earlier. You might have noticed that blipped in the video. This semicolon at the end of that create statement was very important. That if you don't have that there, you get a whole bunch of errors and you don't know what they're talking about, because it has to do with additional stuff that it adds on to test your code. And I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with putting 2 semicolons in a row, so I don't know why they don't just automatically add one when they do it. But anyway, so I got through lab 3.9 today, and next time we'll continue with chapter 3. So thanks for watching.